Donkey Kong Bananza is now out in the wild, and one of the biggest burning questions ahead of the launch centered on DK's new best friend, Pauline. She's a teenager in Bonanza, 13 years old to be precise, and this has led to rampant speculation that Bonanza is a prequel to Super Mario Odyssey, which features an adult Pauline living in New Donk City.
Hi.
We've played through the main story of Bonanza and completed most of its major post-game beats, which means we now have the answers to that question and more. But be warned, we're about to spoil the entirety of Donkey Kong Bananza. So if you're still working your way to the planet core, turn back now and join us once you've seen Bonanza through to the end yourself. Right, let's dive in. Bonanza eventually reveals that 13-year-old Pauline does, in fact, call New Donk City home, just like her Odyssey counterpart. And the story's grand finale takes place in the metropolis after it's been completely overrun by the returning King K. Rool. When DK and Pauline break through to the surface, Pauline exclaims, confirming the fan theory that Bonanza would end by returning Pauline home to Odyssey's most iconic location. But is this city connection enough to confirm that Bonanza is a prequel to Super Mario Odyssey? Let's dive into the background of Pauline, who is central to this mystery. In Odyssey, Pauline, who's a full-grown adult, is the mayor of New Donk City, and is perhaps most memorable for her performance of Jump Up Superstar at the New Donk City Festival. Teenage Pauline and the Mayor Pauline share a lot in common, beyond their shared name of course. They are both singers and performers, with much of teenage Pauline's character arc revolving around gaining enough confidence to perform in front of her hometown. She also sings the Bonanza transformation songs, and Void Kong is obsessed with the power of her voice, at least until King K. Rool boots him out of the story entirely, that is. Based on Pauline's age, most expected that Bonanza would be a prequel to Odyssey, and potentially an origin story for New Donk City itself. So it would make sense that DK, acting as Pauline's hero and best friend, would prompt the people to name the town after her saviour once she was safely returned. But in Bonanza, New Donk City is already established before DK and Pauline arrive, and during one of teenage Pauline's monologues at the getaway, she references New Donk City's nickname as the Big Banana, a Kong-inspired parody of New York's The Big Apple. It's a nickname we've heard before, first uttered in Mario Odyssey by a local New Donker. Using all that as a starting point, it seems that there's actually more evidence to suggest that Bonanza is a sequel to Odyssey, and that teenage Pauline is Mayor Pauline's daughter, and the granddaughter of the original Pauline, who we'll call Arcade Pauline. Let's explain all that. Teenage Pauline regularly references her grandmother throughout Bonanza, and including one time directly in the main story. After the pair run into Diddy and Dixie Kong in the racing lair, Pauline remarks during the dive into the next layer, teenage Pauline's grandma is the only family member she directly mentions in Bonanza, so Nintendo clearly want us to think about who her grandma is. The most likely answer becomes clear when we consider Donkey Kong's grandfather, who is, in fact, Cranky Kong. It is well established that Cranky Kong is the original arcade Donkey Kong that kidnapped Arcade Pauline way back in the day. Bonanza reinforces this lore as Cranky rants about his old rival who wore overalls, clearly referencing Mario, or Jumpman, as our favourite plumber was originally known. Cranky and Wrinkly Kong's son is Donkey Kong Jr., who, despite what the Super Mario Bros. Movie may have tried to tell you, is not actually our current Donkey Kong. Jr. starred in the Donkey Kong Jr. arcade game and made various other playable appearances before essentially being wiped from the face of the earth. The tie-wearing Donkey Kong we all know and love, first introduced in Rare's Donkey Kong Country, is actually Donkey Kong III, son of Donkey Kong Jr. and an unknown Kong mother. So, we've established 3 generations of DK, which brings us back to Pauline. Arcade Pauline and Mayor Pauline don't look like the same person. Arcade Pauline has blonde hair, while the Mayor is a brunette. You could argue that this is just a character redesign, but a billboard in Odyssey's New Donk City shows a blonde version of Pauline. Perhaps that's just a fun Easter egg, but perhaps it's also a clue to canon, and we have to use all the evidence that we can.
You and me, we're the best!
The New Donk City Festival, which sees Mario recreate gameplay from the arcade Donkey Kong game, is celebrated to tell the stories of our city's beginnings according to Pauline. This implies that New Donk City was founded after the events of the arcade game, built on the foundation of all those girders that Jumpman climbed up towards Donkey Kong. New Donk City is a sprawling metropolis, and it likely took the course of at least one human generation to build up to such an enormous size. That, combined with the different appearances, leads us to believe that Arcade Pauline and Mayor Pauline are two different people. And perhaps, dare we say, mother and daughter. I suppose it's possible that Bonanza could still be a prequel, and that Mayor and Teenage Pauline are one of the same, and that Arcade Pauline is her grandmother with a missing generational link between them, but it feels cleaner to suggest that there are 3 generations of Pauline: Arcade, Mayor, and Teenage. Just like there are 3 generations of DK, Arcade/Cranky, Junior, and the main DK of today. We really hope that our theory that Teenage Pauline is the granddaughter of Arcade Pauline is true, because it's absolutely adorable that the grandchildren of 2 of the oldest Nintendo characters have now teamed up and become best friends in Bonanza. But unfortunately, completing the bulk of Bonanza's post-game content doesn't really shed any more light on this. Pauline returns to the surface to perform a song for the city, but all we see of that is a new piece of art that appears after the credits have rolled. So, while Bonanza's position as a prequel may make a lot of sense, it ultimately can never be more than a theory. This theory though does raise some concerning, perhaps even supernatural questions about Mario. If he has really interacted with multiple generations of Paulines and Donkey Kongs, does this mean that Mario never ages, while those around him do? Are there multiple generations of Mario? Is Nintendo implying that Mario and Jumpman are 2 different characters? It's probably best not to think about it too much.
Who is this guy? Oh, he makes me laugh.
But finally, and perhaps most crucially, it's important to remember that Nintendo historically doesn't actually care about lore and continuity across its games. Even The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild, has a load of inconsistencies that are just ultra hand-waved away. So it's quite possible that Nintendo doesn't even have a truly established timeline between the original Donkey Kong, Odyssey, and Bonanza, and just loves to keep all fans guessing. But what do you think is going on in Donkey Kong Bananza? Is Teenage Pauline the daughter of Mayor Pauline and the granddaughter of the original Pauline? Or are we just being completely redonkulous? Let us know in the comments, and for everything else on DK Bananza, be sure to stick with IGN.
Want to boost your game collection and get a great selection of titles every month? Well, now you can with Humble Choice. Every month you get a hand-picked mix of awesome PC games, and this month's lineup is now live. Running through to August 5th, you can grab Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader, Daemon X Machina, Death's Door, Cat Quest 3, and much more. Whether you're building your backlog or discovering something new, now is the perfect time to pick up these fan favorites. And don't forget that every purchase helps a good cause, with this month's Humble Choice membership supporting Covenant House. Get a curated mix of PC games every month, all for just $14.99 a month. Skip a month or cancel anytime, and know that 5% of your membership goes to charity. So if you love discovering great games and doing a little good while you're at it, check out Humble Choice today.